Good morning, students. This video is for class 6 science, and today also we will continue with chemistry as we have been doing, so that once we finish of this and then we can move to the other subjects of science. Today our topic will be mixture. Our topic will be mixture. A mixture is a substance that contains two or more different substances. It can be elements, it can be compounds, or it can be both. So a mixture is that substance in which you will find a combination of either elements or combination of different elements, different compounds, or maybe a combination of elements as well as compounds. Mixed together in such a way that no chemical change occur between them. That means they are mixed in such a way that there is no chemical change in it. A chemical change, what is a chemical change? A chemical change is a change which cannot be reversed. So it is that when you mix elements, different elements, or you mix different compounds, or you mix both, there is no chemical changes. The different type of substances present in a mixture are called its components. So suppose if there is a mixture, if there is a mixture in which oxygen and then hydrogen mixed, suppose you take nitrogen also. So these particularly they are known as components of it. Means suppose if you take an example of a mixture of sand and sand, pebbles, mud. So the sand, pebbles, mud, these are separately known as components. They are also known as constituent, either components or constituent. Air, tap water, oil in water, sugar in water, soil and alloys are few examples of mixture. In all these mixtures, the concentration of the components of the mixture can be different. Concentration, the quantity of that elements or quantity of compounds can be different. It is not necessary that the quantity of oxygen and hydrogen has to be fixed. They can be, suppose 5 atoms. Here it can be 10 atoms. So the components can be the concentration, the quantity of the elements can be different. For example, the concentration of different gases in air varies from place to place, and a solution of sugar can be prepared by adding variable amounts of sugar to water. Now, suppose if you want to take a mixture of air, it is not necessary that each and everywhere on the earth, the amount of oxygen, amount of carbon dioxide, amount of other gases will be fixed in each and every places. Maybe where I am standing, amount of oxygen is much more than where you all are staying. So different quantity of the components of gases can be different in different places. Okay. Now let us read about the characteristic of mixtures. Number 1, a mixture does not exhibit any characteristic property of its own. So if you make a mixture, it does not, the whole mixture does not have a characteristic, does not have the property of different from other these components. It will have the same property, same characteristic as the components of the mixture. Suppose a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen, it will have a property, it will have the characteristic of oxygen as well as hydrogen. Next, the components of a mixture do not lose their properties and thus retain their original properties in the mixture. So when they are mixed, they do not lose their properties. They have that particular properties which the elements contains. Next, in a mixture, the components are not present in any fixed ratio or proportion. It is not necessary that in a mixture you have to keep a proper fixed ratio or proportion so that the components can be, so that the elements, so that the compounds can be mixed. The components of a mixture can be separated easily through the physical method of separation. Suppose if you take an example of sand and mud, you can use your physical hand to separate them, to separate the sand separately and to separate the mud separately. This is physical method. That means you use your own body parts to remove them, to separate them. Mixtures are not pure substances as they contain more than one type of components. So according to science says that if you have more than one components in a mixture of something, it is not pure substance. If you have the same element, same kind of atom of an element, it is pure substance according to science. So a mixture which contains maybe two different elements, maybe two different components, compounds, maybe both elements as well as compounds. So that is why mixture is not considered as pure substances. So children, I hope you have understood. Okay. Now please mark the difference between compounds and mixtures. And children, let us keep it till here. In the next class, we will start with there is a lot of time. So in the next class, we will start with separation of mixtures. So for today, up to this much. Thank you, class.